is so exciting to be chatting with you, Tracy.
It's so exciting to be talking to you, Brigid. It's awesome. You write the most amazing books, and I'm just thrilled that you agreed to be a part of this with me.
Thank you. And I was so honored when you reached out to ask me to be a part of it. I am reading Crave, and it is amazing so far. I'm so happy to be reading vampire novels again. I have missed them so much. I am just going by the chat. I know everyone knows who you are, but just in case, do you want to give a quick intro of you and all of your amazing books? Or maybe not all of them,
But what we're here to talk about tonight?
Yes.
Okay. I am Tracy Wolff, and first of all, I'm so excited to everybody who joined us tonight. Thank you so much for coming to listen to Brigid and me talk about books and the Crave series and all of that. I am the author of the Crave series, and we're here tonight to talk about Court and my exclusive Barnes and Noble Pretty Dragon edition that I love so much. And yeah, the Crave series is a book about Grace and a bunch of other paranormal creatures. Grace is a fish out of water who shows up at an Alaskan boarding school after her parents die. And because that's where her uncle lives and he's her new guardian, and ends up with a lot more than she bargained for, including the fact that her cousin is a witch and the really hot guy who's making her nuts is a vampire. So that's exciting. And yeah, and Court is the fourth book in the series, and we've just been exploring all the wonderful and awful things that have happened to Grace and her friends in the last several months.
No, it's an incredible series, and it's been really exciting to see you grow and gain so many readers, and it is just phenomenal. And you shared something with me before the event went live. Do you want to share it with everyone else? I guess you can't really say no now. I put you on the spot.
I actually do want to share, and I have a very enthusiastic fiance, let me just say that. And so behind us, you see these gold balloons that spell out Court. And apparently my family has been hiding them for quite some time for just this moment, because we just found out, and you guys are literally the first people to know because we are announcing it for the first time here. We just hit #1 on the New York Times series list with the Crave series. And I can only say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I know it's due to all of your enthusiasm and excitement for the series, for Grace and Hudson and Jackson and Macy and all of the others. And honestly, just thank you from the very bottom of my heart. I tell everybody, and I tell you guys regularly, that I have the absolute best fans in the world, and I mean it 110%. You guys are the best, and I'm so grateful to you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, it's truly amazing. And I know, I don't think people who aren't, deep in the trenches with authors realize that once you get beyond 2 books in a series, you jump to that series list, which, and it's the YA series list, right? And once you're on there, it becomes the children's series list. So you are up against like Diary of a Wimpy Kid and Dog Man, and yeah, and like all of those. And so that is just, it is tremendous to hit #1, and just huge congratulations to you. That is amazing. That is amazing.
You're so sweet. Thank you so much.
Of course. I'm just so excited. I'm very
excited. My publisher and everybody who's worked on the series are so excited. And yeah, it's my first #1. So I'm very excited. I'm doubly excited.
That's so cool.
So excited that it happened with this series and with these fans and with these characters. I love Grace and Hudson and all the rest of them so much. So I'm very excited.
Well, and I think your love for your characters is really evident, especially as much as your fans love them and are, so passionate about their journeys too. And I know that we had started talking a little bit before by text message, and I have to say, you and I, we've both published a bunch of books. It's very cool. I feel like I'm usually on a chat with like a debut author or somebody who's, 2 or 3 books deep. And it is so nice to chat with somebody who's like, we could kick back in a bar or a coffee shop and be like, all right, let's gossip about publishing. Let's spill all of the tea everywhere.
Let's spill all of the tea.
All of the tea. Now, we're not going to do that with 200 strangers, but I do want to know, like, what was your original inspiration to write a vampire book? Because I love vampires. I loved Twilight. I loved Anne Rice. What drew you back to vampires?
Vampires are the best, right? They're the absolute best. I love them. I love paranormal creatures. I started out writing mermaids and dragons and witches, and I always wanted to write a vampire novel. I always I've loved the genre forever. I've read in it extensively, seen all the movies, and I've loved it. But I never really had the nerve until my publisher came to me, Untitled, who I'd worked with before in the past on a different series many years ago, came to me and said they really wanted to bring vampires back and were wondering if I'd be interested in collaborating with them on a vampire novel. And I was like, sign me up, like right now, let's go. I want to write all the vampires. It was very, very scary because I know I say this, but you're standing on the shoulders of a lot of really brilliant writers. You named several, and it's scary to kind of dip your toe in the vampire pond and hope that people respond to it. So I feel very grateful that they love what Entangled and I put together, and I love the series.
No, it's really amazing.
I love my vampires. I have a lot of fun with them.
Now, did you read a lot of vampire novels when you were a kid? Were you always into like paranormal creatures?
I think I've always been into paranormal creatures. I started reading romance novels around the time that when I started reading them when I was like 11 or 12, after I'd read all the stuff in the YA section. And that was right around the time that paranormals were really kind of coming in for a while. And so I kind of, cut my teeth on those and then the industry cycled, and then I was back, and when I came into it, I always wanted to write them. And I fell in love with, the giants of romance vampires, right? Christine Feehan, Nalini Singh writes Sherilyn Kenyon, and then they really made their way into YA as well. And of course, I read Twilight and all of the vampire books with that. And so yeah, I've read a lot. I read extensively as a kid, and I read extensively as an adult. And people always ask me, like, why are there so many different paranormal creatures in the Crave series? And the truth is, I can't choose. I love them all. I love vampires very much, but dragons have a very special place in my heart. And like I said, I've written a dragon series. I've written a witch series. Werewolves and giants and mermaids and all the other things. I have a Manticore in the Crave series, and she is one of my favorite characters ever. So yeah, I couldn't choose, and that's why the Crave series is always exploring new paranormal creatures and different places.
No, that's so cool, and I love that you don't hesitate to throw other creatures and characters into the series and into your world. I know you and I were both talking about how much we love characters, and characters are kind of where we start, yeah. Right? And I still remember years ago, I was on a panel with another author who said she didn't really care about authors, that to her, it was all about the world building, and she would just build the entire world and then just decide what kind of characters to place in it. And I was like, what? Like, I would write my characters in a white walled room. I'd be happy, right?
I actually say that because I have been teased on more than one occasion by a different editor, by editors and my agent, that I will write my romance novels in a room with two characters in a room or a house or whatever. And that's all I need. There might be like the waitress or the guy at the convenience store when one of my characters runs in, but like I can literally just write them in a room and I'm happy. And yes. So yeah, the Crave series is very different than that. There's a ton of characters and a ton of world building that went into it. I have the best editor in the world for world building, and she is amazing at doing that in this series and really pushing me out of my comfort zone. and I think we work really well together, and I think I'm very proud of the books.
That's awesome. Has there ever been a character that came out differently than what you originally intended?
Oh,
Or
in the
that,
series?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Several. There's a couple. There's one in court particularly. His name is Jacan, and he was not. I mean, I knew what he was, but I didn't really know who he was until I was writing. And as as I'm going through, he just came out. I don't want to do any spoilers, but he just totally came out. I think I love him. I think he's a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to hopefully exploring him more. But yeah, he was. I think in my head he was going to be this very serious, no nonsense guy, and what he came out was a little different.
That's really cool.
And
Has
after that, I think, oh, I'm sorry to interrupt. I think the Manicore too. Like I didn't, I was very excited. Like you know, knew we wanted to do a Manicore, and I wanted her to be this really kick-ass character, right? But it wasn't until Calder opened her mouth that I was like, oh, that's who you are. I like you. You're a lot of fun. Yeah, I like it when the characters surprise me and they're fun. I love having fun just exploring their personalities.
Me too. I think there's really something amazing about when you have this kind of expectation for a character and you put them on the page. I know you're just reading Curse, because like even in A Curse So Dark and Lonely, I had two characters that I could not wait for them to meet. Like I could not wait. I was like, they're gonna meet, they're gonna be best friends, and it's gonna be amazing. And then they met, and I got to that scene, and they could not stand each other. And it always takes me by surprise when that happens. Anytime I talk to my husband about it, he's always like, you sound like you're crazy. Like these are not real people, right?
Oh, absolutely. My family, I have so many funny stories, but before I say that, I want to say I'm loving all the Calder love in the chat. Like, I think that is awesome. I'm like so excited that you guys love her as much as I do. I think she's pretty funny too. She always makes me laugh anyway. But yeah, no, like my boys will always know when I've gotten lost in story, because I'm like driving down the road and I'm like, and like my head's going, and like I'm just like, and they're like, oh my God, you're just talking to your characters again, right? And I'm like, what? Huh? Yeah. So yeah, there's always that. I'm always getting lost. And my characters they surprise me regularly. But sometimes like Grace came into my head like fully formed. Like she just started talking to me. And I was like, huh, okay, there you are. Like, all right, let's see what happens here. And she was just like, has always been just such a real character to me, like just a real person. And I love that. But yeah, no, when I was writing the second book in the series, I was very anxious for her and Hudson to meet. And it took a long time to get there, because it doesn't happen because a lot of other things happen in the book. So it doesn't happen until, probably 70 or 80 pages into the book. And I was just like so anxious. And then he showed up and I was like, oh, yes. And oh my gosh, she could not stand him. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun playing with the two of them. And he's got this really self-deprecating sense of humor, and he's a lot of fun. So
that's really cool. Who's the hardest character for you to write?
Who is the hardest character? Oh, that's such a hard question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I will say that a lot of the characters in the series have come to me easier than characters in a long time. They just came like as a group, In Court, I think honestly Flint was the hardest to write, because he's been through a lot. Like Covet was a really difficult book, and a very difficult ending for Flint, I think. And so who he was in Court was different than who he had been, because the things that happen to us changes. And getting my thumb on the pulse of what that was and who he is and what he was feeling was maybe the most challenging. Oh, you were crying too. If it makes you feel better, I was literally crying when I wrote the end of Covet. I cried and cried and cried for the last 100 pages. And one time, my middle son is the Joker in the house. He's the peacemaker, the one who always makes you feel better, and the one who always cracks jokes. And he came into my room one day, and I'm like just crying as I'm writing towards the end of Covet. And he's like, "Mom, are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, it's just the book." And they know me well enough to know that this happens sometimes. So he came in and he cheered me up and he told me some jokes or whatever. And then he goes to walk out. And the way that I get back into the story, I don't know how you do it, but I always read like the last two paragraphs that I've written to kind of put my mind back where I am. So I start to do it. I get like 2 lines in, he's not even out of the room yet, and I start sobbing all over again. Oh. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I sent it to my editor, and I don't know if she would appreciate me saying this, but I called her and she like swore at me and said, "Get off the phone. I'm having a moment here." And I can't even talk to you right now. I was like, I don't know if that's good or bad. But and then she called me back and told me I'd broken her heart, but that it was all good.
Oh my God, now I'm afraid.
Is, right? We plot together. So she knew what was gonna happen. She knew exactly what was gonna happen. But she was just like, "You broke my heart. I didn't know it was gonna hurt this bad." Oh. Like, "I'm sorry."
Now I'm really afraid. Oh my goodness. So who was the easiest character to write?
Grace was really easy. I always say she's the one who's probably most similar to me. Just because like she's got that whole, I get knocked down a lot, but like I'm really big at like picking yourself back up. Like it's one of the big messages in the whole series, right? That you don't have to be perfect at stuff, and you don't even have to be good at it. You just have to be willing to try, and you just have to pick yourself up every time you get knocked back down. And so she was really easy. But Hudson is actually pretty easy for me to write as well. Like I just get him. And my fiance pointed out to me that I always say that I'm Grace, but that I'm actually, there's a lot of Hudson in me. So yeah, maybe that's why the two of them were probably the easiest. I get them really, really.
That's awesome. Well, and I know we've got a ton of viewer questions stacking up, so I want to make sure we get to them. But I want to ask you one really quickly for me, just because I'm personally curious. What is it like? Because you mentioned that you kind of develop your plotting with your editor. What is that like? What is that process like?
I whine a lot. And I almost never win. Does that count? We talk about the book a lot, and then very often she'll put together the synopsis and that kind of a thing, and then I come back and whine, and then she cuts like my favorite parts. Like I yell at her all the time about how she cut my Banshee out of Crush. Nobody knows there was this kick-ass Banshee scene in Crush, and it's gone. There's also a dragon horde in Crush, but she just laughs at me and tells me, "Well, isn't it so much better in Covet?" And I'm like, "Okay, that's not the point." And she's like, "It kind of is." Oh my gosh, she isn't allowed to cut, you guys. Court is actually a 900 and some page book that we crammed into 700 pages, which is why like the margins are, crazy. And the print is very small, but even with that, we cut like 60,000 words out of the book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is actually one of the reasons that Cherish came about, was because we cut what we both thought were some really pivotal scenes, but we just didn't have room in the action, and some of them, really finished up some of the arcs and the story, and there's obviously, those of you who've read Court, there are some things that are some cliffhangers and some things that are dangling that we will get to, that we just literally didn't have room for in this 300 and some thousand word book that we need all the pages. Oh, you guys need it. There's a lot. She has a file with all the pages. Maybe one day she'll share it with you. I don't know.
Man, that's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So I have a book coming out in May, and that clocks in at like 155,000 words. And my poor editor was like, who mostly also otherwise does like middle grade picture books, and here I send her like thunk, right onto her desk. But I have not approached the 300,000 word range yet.
I never have before this series either. I think my biggest book up to date before that was actually another YA called Doomed. And that book was really big, and we kept trying to cut it, but every time we cut it, we ended up adding 3 more scenes in. And I think it ended up at like 160,000 words or something. And I thought that was big. and then the Crave and the world building series came along, and by the time I'm like the world building in this series is really massive. And the characters, usually I write like really, really in-depth characters. That's kind of always been my jam. It's what I love the most. With like you said, we talked about that before this started. And I really like to do really fun plots that, go really fast and are action adventure and all of that. But when you do like all of those, and I write long anyway, because apparently I'm very wordy, shocking, I know. And when you do that, and then you combine it with this massive world building, suddenly you have these, I call them a book and a weapon, carried in your backpack late at night. And so yeah, they're bigger than I ever thought they would be. And the fact that still wasn't enough room is surprising.
No, it's amazing. And they're beautiful. Oh, wait, I know. Again, we have all of these questions, but I have personal questions for you. These covers are incredible. Incredible. Did you have input on the covers, or did this just land in your inbox? This amazing.
The first cover, Crave, landed in my inbox, and I squealed like a crazy woman. Yeah. It's such a beautiful, amazing cover. Yeah. And I had absolutely no input on that. I think they had decided that was what they wanted to go with as soon as they decided they wanted to do a vampire novel. I have had a little bit of input on the others. Like Crush actually had a different cover to begin with. And then as we worked through the plot of it, we realized there was something, the Bloodstone, that was super important to it. And so that ended up making the cover instead. Covet, the cover was originally a really smooth like ball and chain, and the big joke is, right, I had thought it looked like my Christmas ornaments that I hang on my tree, and so they banged it up and all of that. But no, my publisher, it's totally their cover concept, and they have Bree is the name of the woman who designs them, and she is incredible. And but no, it's very much their brainchild.
Yeah,
and I get to say, can we bang up the ball a little bit? And they'll be like, okay, we'll bang up the ball for you. But no, that and the colors and the Cherish cover, which is purple, I had absolutely nothing to do with, and I love it so much. I'm very excited. And the Hourglass on Charm, yeah, no, nothing. It was all them.
That's
I'm
awesome.
just really lucky. I'm just a lucky girl.
Yeah, they're really gorgeous covers. All right, let's see. All right, I'm going to skip over to the Q&A. And just as a reminder for anyone, if you have a question, the chat is hopping. So please use the Q&A feature. Feel free to scroll through the questions and upvote those questions if it's something you definitely want to hear. I might skip around a little just for fun because I have the power. So let's see. All right, the most upvoted question is, will there be a TV series or a movie? Do you have anything you're allowed to say?
I saw somebody had said that they thought the rights had been sold to Paramount, but it's actually Universal. The rights for Crave have been sold to Universal, and I have no news to report except that things are moving along behind the scenes, and we're super excited by the people that they've attached to the project so far. I'm super excited by that, and we're all crossing our fingers. I'm definitely crossing my fingers, So we'll.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing.
We'll see what happens. But yes, Universal has the rights to them, and I'm very excited, and I think my whole publishing house is very excited about it.
Yay! Fantastic. All right, let's see the
Universal soon, please soon. Yes, I feel you. Right.
I know, and I don't think people realize how little control authors have over that entire process. It's next to zero. Yeah.
Yep, I had an editor well, she didn't tell me specifically. I was at a panel at a writing conference, and she was talking and she was, she'd had a lot of her books made into movies, and she always said she never counted on it until she was on the red carpet at the premiere. And so you cross your fingers and you really hope really hard.
Yep, that's exactly it. You just pray and wait. All right, let's see. You might not be able to answer this one, but it is the next upvoted question. Are Hudson and Grace endgame?
Oh my gosh, you gotta read the book. You gotta read the book. I think Court answers that definitively one way or the other, but gotta read the book.
All right.
That I cannot spoil.
All right, this is my least favorite question as an author because I never know how to answer it. So I'm going to torture you with it. What is your dream cast for a Crave movie for Hudson, Grace, or Jackson?
You know what? I'm terrible at that. I think
Yes.
it's really interesting how many similarities you and I have. And I'm actually not even going to wade into that. Honestly, I'm going to say, I'm going to trust Universal is brilliant at what they do. And I am going to trust them to put together the most amazing cast for the movie. I think
that's a really good answer. I need some film rights so I can use that answer.
I think they would do an amazing job, and I'm fingers crossed looking forward to seeing that happen.
That's really awesome. Yeah, usually because anytime someone asks me that question, I'm like, that guy from that Super Bowl commercial, that girl I saw on that TikTok once, like, I don't know. All right, let's see. Is there a book tour in the works? Are you doing any live
There was
events?
supposed to be a book tour for Court, and then Omicron reared its very ugly head. So provided COVID behaves itself, I think we're definitely going to do some events for Charm. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's one of my biggest regrets because I love my fans, and it really upsets me that I haven't been able to get out on the road and meet some of them and talk to them. So yeah, God willing, right?
Yeah, seriously. Where do you live? I didn't even ask you.
I live in Austin, Texas.
Oh, I might be coming to Austin on my tour. Maybe we should do an event together.
We should totally do an event together if you come.
It's not till May. That would be amazing. It's not official yet, but that was definitely one of the top cities. Oh, we should do an event together. Not to plan this in public.
Not to plan this in public, but let's do it. It'll be fun.
That would be fun. All right. Well, either way, we have to get together because that would be amazing.
That would be amazing.
All right. Let's see. I feel like this is another one where you're probably going to say, read the book. Do we find out whatever happens with Grace and Heather's friendship?
Yeah, at some point. There's some of it in Court, and I'm sure there will be more.
Read the book.
Read the book.
All right, let's see. I like this question. What inspired you to write the Crave series, and what can you, and I know we touched on that a little bit earlier, and what can you say to young authors out there about the beauty of a story?
Oh, the beauty of a story. That's such a lovely way to put it. Oh my
is.
gosh. Wow, I love that. I think story is magic. I think writing is magic in a lot of ways. There's this book by, oh my gosh, her name just slipped in my mind, Elizabeth Gilbert, called Big Magic. And not Big Magic, it's called, what's it called? Do you know the one I'm talking about?
Practical Magic?
No. It's the book about, I think it is called Big Magic. I can't remember. Anyway, Elizabeth Gilbert, she wrote Eat, Pray, Love, but she also wrote this book on writing. What is it called? My mind just went blank. Oh my gosh, this is embarrassing, you guys. I'm sorry. I have not had much sleep lately, and I'm just blanking on it for a second. But anyway, this book really talks about story and ideas and how they are magic, and how what can I say to a young author about it, about story? Keep the faith. Honestly, I think that your gut is often right, not always right. That's why great editors are so important to every story, because they very often can help you when you've gone wrong. So listen to them, listen to your editors, but trust your gut, follow it is big magic. Oh, yay. Thank you. That makes me so happy to know that I haven't completely blanked out on something. So yeah, like, trust in the story and have fun. Like, let yourself explore it. I write from a very detailed synopsis, but things like what the god of time looks like is completely up to me. What does the dragon court look like? I mean, it's completely up to the moment. Sometimes, when I get there, I'm like, okay, what would this be? And story has never failed me. Like, it always comes. It's always there. And I like to think it's always, or almost always, the right thing. Like, what do these details look like? Like, one of my favorite scenes in Covet is the ball at the Dragon Court. And when they walk in, and what I did with the horde there is one of my favorite things ever. Like, I had so much fun, and it was just a momentary idea that just came to me as I was going with the story. So I think trust your gut, have fun with it, and just write true, and I don't mean like, oh, let's, like, vampires are truth. I really, think the guy who lives next door to me is a vampire. I mean, when you write universal truths, when you write characters who are real, people believe them and they respond to them. And that's story magic, in my opinion, right? Is sharing your truth with somebody else.
That's really beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And, and I agree. And I love what you said about trusting your gut and trying to have fun, with the characters. I was 6 books deep with my writing career, and I was a pretty solidly mid-list author, right? And I remember I got to this point where I was exhausted. I was still working full time. We had a year where my writing income was exactly the amount of money I had paid for daycare, which was a little bit like, oh, awesome, right? And I remember this one day I came home from work and I was exhausted, and I had this conversation with my husband where I was like, I am so tired. Like, I don't know if I can keep writing. I don't know if I can keep doing this. We had 3 little boys. We still have 3 little boys.
I have 3 boys. Mine are not little anymore, but I have 3 boys.
Mine are not super little. They're 14, 10, and 7 now. How old are your boys?
Older. I have a 15-year-old, an 18-year-old, and a 25-year-old. Just turned 25 2 days ago.
Now we're definitely getting together when I come to Austin. I'm insisting on it being part of
I'll give you all the dirt on raising boys.
But I had just gotten to this point where I was like, I don't know if I can keep going, like, working full time. Like, I was just worried I was going to wake up one day and my kids were going to be 18 and I would have spent their entire childhood chasing the dream of being a full-time.
It's a fear, right? It's a real fear. Like, I spend a lot of time writing these, writing books. I mean, Court is book 69. So I've spent a lot, incredible. Yeah, a lot of crazy hours. And your fear is, did you just blow their, this time? Like, for me, it's not their childhood. It's like, did I blow the last few years I have them in my house, just sitting in my office writing? No, it's a fear. It's a fear. Yeah. And I remember having this conversation with my husband, and he sat me down and he said, he was like, we have been working so hard. And, when is the last time you really, wrote something that really felt fun? Like, not just for your editor, not because, you're worried about what your fans are going to think, just something that really felt fun. And that became this. And it sold for enough for me to quit my day job. So good. It's so good. But it changed my life. And I think about that now with every book, that I'm just, I stopped worrying so much. Like, is this stupid? Like, are people going to think this is dumb? Like, it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Is this stupid? And I just was like, you know what? I'm having fun. I love it. And I now love that it, I don't know, it really did change my life. And so I love what you had to say about, the fun part of writing and trusting your gut. Yeah. Yeah. Like, we all have those doubts when we're, middleist. And this is the thing about writing. It's a rough career. I mean, I love it. I would not want to do anything else. I have been very blessed in my career. Obviously with like amazing fans and amazing editors and being able to write on amazing projects. But it's not an easy one. There's a lot of rejection in it. Every time you go to sell a new series to like a new house, there's rejection, right? Because some, like, if you're lucky, one person wants it. If you're really lucky, two people want it. So you always have that rejection there, and the fear of that. So yeah, I say at least really love what you're writing. And I don't mean you're going to love it every day, because some days are hard. Some days are all the fun, and some days are like, oh my gosh, I'm really scared to write the scene because it's going to hurt. I have a friend who said something I thought was really interesting, and I remembered a lot when I was writing Covet, actually, and in a couple scenes in court, where I said, sometimes it's really hard to sit down and write when I know that I'm going to have to really, really dig deep to get the emotional resonance, like the emotional truth of the thing. Like, I may not have had the things happen to me that have happened to Grace and Hudson and Flint and Jackson and all of that, but the pain that they experience and the trauma that they go through comes from the feelings that I've had at different times in my life as I've gone through things. And I'm for somebody who's so character driven as you are, I'm sure it's the same, right? And she she didn't laugh, but she said, yeah, she says, her husband was a software engineer. And she said, I wonder when he goes to work, like he doesn't have to dig deep in his emotional wounds and tear them open and let them bleed all over the page for readers to see. He just has to so she asked him, she says, do you ever does your code ever make you cry? And his answer was no, but other people's does. And I said, yeah, not the same thing.
Not the same at all.
Not the same thing.
Oh my goodness. No, that was a good conversation. I'm glad we had that question in there. All right, let's see. Is it possible that we'll get another book after Cherish, or is that the last book?
First of all, I want to say something to Elizabeth about the curly hair. I know it doesn't look it, but I am a curly hair girl, and yeah, I had really super curly hair all my life. My hair kind of went straighter, changed colors and went straight with each different pregnancies. So it just does what it's going to do. And I'm just like, okay. So yes, curly hair. I was very curly haired up until like my late 20s. So yeah, I love that Grace has curly hair, and that she's learned to, she's embracing it because it's beautiful. But I lost track of your question. I'm sorry.
Oh, I said, and then I just pushed it. Is it possible that we'll get another book after Cherish?
There is a spinoff coming that I am very excited about. We've already met the characters. We met one character in Covet, and his name is Remy, and he's a lot, and I'm really excited to dig into his story. And we meet his heroine in court. For those who haven't read it yet, I don't want to give it away, but she is a badass vampire. And I'm very excited to see what the two of them do together.
Yay!
And the cool thing is, it's definitely in the Crave world, and characters we won't lose all the characters from the Crave series. They will be around. So I'm excited.
Yay! No, spinoffs are a lot of fun. Because the Cursebreaker series is getting a spinoff, so it's fun
exciting,
to write.
Right? It's so much fun. Like, you spend all this time building this world, and you love it, and you don't want to leave it, and there's so many other stories to tell.
Yes, it's really amazing. I love it. Let's see.
When does yours start? When does yours start?
So mine comes out May 3rd, Forging Silver into Stars. That'll be the first one.
That's the spinoff?
Mm-hmm.
So you're like really starting the spinoff. I don't start till next year, but yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about it. I cannot wait. Let's see. What is your favorite book out of the series?
I don't know. That's such a hard question for me.
I always have a hard one with that too.
It's hard, right? Because there's things you love about all of them, and things that you remember were hard about all of them. Like, a missing banshee scene, maybe. Just kidding. I was like saying, which of my children do I love the best? I can't do that.
I won't make you pick. I won't make you pick.
I'm not gonna say I love them all. I love them all in their own ways.
Are you team Hudson or team Jackson? If you're like me, I can't pick, but
yeah, I think you got to read the books to know. Like, when you get to the end, you'll know. But I actually love them both. I really do. I think they're very different people, and I love that. And I love the idea that that it's, there's a lot of feminism in these books. Like, it was very important to me to really bring a lot of, positive messages about young girls forward. And one of the thing is that, young love, first love is amazing and powerful and incredible. And that doesn't mean it's the only love that you're ever going to have in your life. That doesn't mean that it's the right love for then. That doesn't mean that it's going to be the right love for always. And that's okay. I mean, it's okay to love different people and to need different things. And yeah. So I love them both. I think they're both. And I want everybody to have a happy ending.
Oh, yay. Let's see. Oh, here's a cool question.
Oh,
what do you do?
So glad.
What do you do in your downtime when you're not writing?
What do I do in my downtime when I'm not writing? Usually,
and when you're not momming.
When I'm not, I was gonna say momming. I'm usually momming. I love to cook. I love to read. I love to swim and dance. And I also, for the past several years, my mother has lived with me because she's been ill, and taking care of her takes up a lot of my time as well.
I know she's very lucky to have you with her.
I feel very lucky to have her. She's been a great mom.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
What made you choose C names for all of your books?
Oh, well, I love that, right? Like, Crave, came to me. Like, I was going over, the idea of, craving blood and craving, somebody, right? And then we went with Crave and Crush and Covet and Court. They all are in charm, right? They're all love words. They're all 5-letter words that begin with C that are some aspect of loving somebody. And yeah, we kind of went with it. Crave came to me, and then we just kind of went with it. We just thought it was cool.
It is cool. I really like how they all kind of look together.
And then Cherish is different, right? It's not five letters, but I think, that was deliberate because we're ending with a bang.
No, it's perfect. It's perfect.
Do I ever tell my mom inside deets on the book? Yeah, I do sometimes. And, the chapter titles, I brainstorm, sometimes. So some of them come really easily. I know them right away. And then every once in a while, there's some that are that are difficult to come up with. And then we kind of brainstorm them. And my mom is the worst, the absolute worst chapter title giver in the universe, but she tries so hard. And I love it so much. I'm always like, oh, that's a good idea, Mom. So yeah, sometimes I tell her stuff about the books.
Oh, that's awesome. What inspired you to do chapter titles?
Honestly, that was actually my editor's idea. She was like, what would be really cool is if we you've got one of the things that, that I think the Crave books have that not all paranormals have is I really, Grace has I think Grace and Hudson have great senses of humor, and it kind of, and Jackson, I think all of them do. And so it kind of permeates the series. She's like, what would be really cool is if we had just a funny title that would kind of, give them a hint of what was coming, and but not give everything away, but just kind of give them a little glimpse so they can be like, oh, what does that mean? And then kind of deliver what it's about. So that was her idea. And yeah, we ran with it. I've had a lot of fun doing them.
Oh, that's
Also,
really
you
cool.
know, there've been a few that I've wanted to, you know, that has been difficult to come up with, but they always kind of come together in the end. But yeah, we've had a lot of fun with them, and I love that the fans like them so much.
Yeah, they're very
It always makes
clever.
me happy when they're like, oh, this is my favorite chapter title, and it really makes me happy when it's like my favorite chapter title that they come up with. I'm like, yay!
That's awesome. Let's see. There's a lot of like spoilery character questions. I don't want to ask those because I know the answer is always probably going to be read the book.
Oh, Amanda, that makes me so happy to hear that your son like cracks up at the chapter titles. That makes me really happy to hear that.
Let's see. I'm looking for ones that we haven't already answered.
Oh, thank you, Jessica. I'm glad. Yeah, that's part of the reason for them, I think. I think that sometimes like it's really, you know, you go through these really intense action sequences. And yeah, I think that the titles help like give you just a second to breathe.
See, I do have one person who asked, is Court going to be released in the UK? Do you know?
Yes, it will be. The business end of it is not my strong suit, so I cannot tell you exactly when, but yes, it will be.
Awesome. Let's see. How many books total are going to be in the completed series?
In the series, as of now, we're planning on 6.
On the 6th.
And then the spinoff, and we'll see how that goes.
And oh, this is a really good question. I'm curious about this too. Have you had an end game planned since you started the Crave series, or did your expectations change as you kind of got into the books?
No, we really knew where we wanted the series to go, like the messages that we wanted to deliver, and the world that we wanted to build and the story that we wanted to tell. And so we've always known end game. Like I said, some of the books have gotten away from us. Like I'm a very wordy writer, and so I will always write long, and there's just a lot to cover. And so, like I said, when we originally thought it was going to be 3 books, and then we thought it was going to be 4 books, and then we really wanted to do Charm, which is kind of a between the books, right? It happens between Crave and Crush, and I'm actually really excited about that book because a lot of people think it's just going to take place in Grace's head, but that's not really how it goes. It's I mean, there's part of it obviously that does, but I introduced, and I don't think this is a spoiler, but in Court I introduced the Shadow Realm, and Charm takes place. A lot of it takes place in the Shadow Realm, so there's a lot of action and a lot of adventure in there, along with Grace and Hudson meeting and being locked together for a while. And so there's a lot that goes into the book, and I'm working on it now and having a really good time with it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Let's see. All right. I don't know if you want to share this one, but I'm curious about it too. But if it's private, don't hesitate to say so. How did your fiance propose?
Well, to be honest, there was supposed to be like a big like romantic proposal with like musicians and this beautiful venue in Austin and all of that. And then in the end, it was just, we just really want to do this. Let's do this. And so it was like sitting at a restaurant, and we just decided we were going to do it. So it wasn't like this huge, massive thing, but I think that it was right for us. We've been through a lot in the last couple of years, and I think it worked really well. So yeah, we were happy.
That's awesome. And I have to say that like when I asked that question, the way you smiled was just
camera. Somebody asked me to hold up the ring. So there it is. I like to joke that you can see it from space. I was like, oh my gosh, that's a ring.
Wait, let me see it again. That's beautiful.
Thank you. It's sparkly. I like the sparkle. I'm about the glitter.
No, that's awesome. Oh, wow. All right, let's see.
Oh, thank you guys. You're so sweet.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize what time it was. All right. So we will probably do, if it's all right with you, we'll probably do a couple more questions and then start to wrap up because I know it's close to the hour. This question came up a lot, so I'm going to ask it. So it says, I really want to know something. How tall is Grace Foster?
She's short, which is interesting because I usually write very tall heroines. But she's like 5'2", 5'3", surrounded by giants, right? Because Macy's like 5'11", and Clancy's gigantic, and the vampire boys are over 6 feet. So yeah, I kind of love that she's this short little girl with a lot of attitude, and like not afraid of any of these people who tower over her. Like, it's not just height. You can be powerful. That's also one of the big messages of this series, right? Like female friendships and female power, and the fact that there's all kinds of female power. It's so important to me, right? That female power can be soft, and female power can be bold, and female power can be excited and glittery, and that's awesome because women have so much strength inside of them, and so much joy and amazing things to offer the world. And Eden is very like in your face tough, and Macy is very like glittery and fun, and very, very excited, and I love that about them. I love that there's these girls who are so different, but who are all strong and all powerful, and in their own ways, and that being together, right, makes them more powerful. Writing has given me the best female friendships of my life, the best friendships in general of my life. And I really wanted to mirror that in the book because I think friendships can be family. They always say, right, the family you choose versus the family you're born into. And I worked really hard to create characters who make their own family in this series, and who take care of each other in a way that I think is profound.
That's really amazing. And I love that. And I know I'm only a short way into Crave, but I can already sense that in Grace. So I think that's incredible. And I was going to take another question, but I think that's a really good point to wrap up on.
Thank you. Yeah,
yeah, that's incredible.
Well, thank you for coming. Thank you for
being
here.
This has been amazing. Do you want to talk about whatever you have coming next?
Well, what I have coming next is the 5th book in the Crave series. It is called Charm. It will be out this summer, and it is the story of Hudson and Grace, and how they meet, and a lot of other stuff. A lot of creepy stuff, actually. I had a lot of fun writing it, and some new paranormal features that I don't think you've seen before. At least definitely not for me. So
that's awesome. That's so exciting.
Yeah, and you have a book coming out in May.
Yep, I have 2. I have
a new series.
You have 2 coming out in May? Well, no, not in May. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
No, I have Forging Silver into Stars, which I don't have a copy of in here, which is coming out in May. That's a spinoff of the Cursebreaker series. And then the sequel to Defy the Night is coming in September, if I can finish writing it.
I won't.
So, but this was so incredible. Thank you so much for inviting me to hang out and chat with you.
Of course. And definitely when you come to Austin, you must look me up.
Oh,
and thank
I will.
you to everybody. I'm so glad you guys had a good time. And yeah, thank you so much for reading the books.
Yeah, thank you all so much.
And we're so grateful for all the amazing fans out there. Right, Brigid?
Yes, for sure. Oh, and thank you to Barnes & Noble for hosting this event.
Absolutely. Thank you to Barnes & Noble for hosting this event, and for having like this incredible exclusive edition of Court. I really loved doing the dragon stories in here. I had a lot of fun with them.
It's truly amazing. Oh, thank you again. Have a great, great night.
You too. Everybody take care. Have a good night, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.